Hey everybody, Miss Goatley here. Week 1 of our math club. It's going to be great. This is the time each week where I'm going to go over a lesson, review some concepts, maybe do some enrichment, pretty much teaching you all, or reviewing, wherever we are, the skills for the week. So, we are in week 1. We are going to work on place value. At any point during this time that I'm talking through this video, feel free to push pause, stop, take a break. If you need to go somewhere, you can stop and start as you please. So please feel free to do that, and don't be panicked or anxious. We want this to be as relaxed and as comfortable as possible. So this is a time where you can just kind of go at your own pace. But I'm going to teach through all the skills that you will need for the practice for the week. And some of the things might be a little challenging, you'll see, but we're gonna cover everything: vocabulary, all the questions, practice. I'm going to give you examples. We're going to cover everything, so don't panic. And if you do have questions on something, you can email me, or we can discuss it in the stream on our Google Classroom, as you will see. So let's get started. This week we are working on place value. So working on place value here, and we'll make some notes on things, and you'll see we'll work through some stuff. But here we go, place value. Each week I like to start off with a quote. So our quote this week is from William Paul Thurston. He's a mathematician, cool guy. So he said that mathematics is not about numbers, equations, computations, or algorithms. It's about understanding. And that's what we want to focus on during our time this summer, is really developing a deeper understanding of the math that we are working on. So with this quote in mind, let's get started. We're going to begin with some vocabulary. So, what is place value? What is it? Place value is the numerical value that a digit has by virtue of its position in a number. Whoa, that's lots of big numbers, lots of big words, talking about numbers, words, reading. What does that mean? All that means is that the place value is determined by the place of the digit in a number. So let me give you an example. If I have the number 123, we want to determine the value of each of these numbers by their place, their location in the whole number 123. Okay? So we can individually figure out the values of 3, 20, or 2 and 1. They each have unique values. So what is the value of 3 in this place right here? What is this place? That's what we have to figure out. Well, from math that we've learned, we know that this is the ones place. We like to put an O on top for ones. We know that this one is the what? The tens place. Tens. Well, what about this one? Ones, tens. What comes next? Hundreds. Put the abbreviation there. And we're going to go into this a little bit more, but just to review. So each of these numbers, 1, 2, and 3, and the number 123 have unique values. Well, what's a value? Let's see here. What is value? Value is how much a number is worth, how much something's worth. If I said, what's the value of a quarter? How much is it worth? It's worth 25 cents. Same thing with just normal numbers, normal digits. How much is the 3 worth in this number 123? Well, it's worth 3 because it's in the ones place, so I have 3 ones. We're going back to our base 10 block basics, right? I have 3 ones. What about the 2 in the tens place? So based on the where that number is located in the whole number, 123, that 2 is in the tens place, so I have 2 tens. Remember, I have 2 tens rods. So 3 ones, 2 tens, and those 2 tens have a value of 20. 10 plus 10 is 20. Now for my hundreds place, there's a 1 in the hundreds place. So we have my hundreds block here. Its value is 100. It takes 100 of these little ones pieces to make 100. So the value of the 1 in the hundreds place is 100. That's how much this number is worth. And that's how much each of these places, the 3, the 2, and the 1, are worth individually within the bigger number. Okay? So keep that in mind. Don't get overwhelmed by this. We're just going over some vocabulary, getting some ideas going. Just roll with it. We're going to be great. This is just an introduction. So we're working on some vocabulary. Now, some more examples, okay? Let's look at this number, 359. Okay, I'm looking at this number and I see there's a 9 here, there's a 5 here, and there's a 3 here. Okay, let's break this down. Let's label our place value. So the 9 is in the ones place, the 5 is in the tens place, the 3 is in the hundreds place. So what are the values of these numbers individually? Okay, what are the values? So we know a 9 in the ones place is just going to be 9. We have 9 ones. Okay. A 5 in the tens place means I have 5 tens. So to figure that out, I'm going to skip count by 5s, or skip count by 10s 5 times. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So 50. Then I have 3 hundreds. So to find the value of 3 hundreds, I'm going to skip count by 100 3 times. So 100, 200, 300. So 300. Now, what does this look like? Expanded form, where we've expanded this number out. So we know that the value of the whole number, if we break it down by place value, is 300 plus 50 plus 9, and that makes the number 359. And now, like I said, I know this is review. I know this is review, but we're just going to hit it, refresh it, and it'll be useful for our practice later on. Now let's look at this number. We got more going on here. So we're going into the thousands place, which you all have done, but this is working with the thousands place is more and beyond, is more of a fourth grade thing, but something that we've touched on in third grade as well. So let's break it down. There we go. All right, there's ones place. What's this one? You all think about it. Tens place. What's this one? The hundreds place. And now we're heading into the thousands place. So let's label that. So I have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. So if we wanted to write this in expanded form, we could. But let's just go slowly through this one again. So this means I have 5 ones, 2 tens, so 5 ones, 2 tens, 10, 20, 8 hundreds, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. And then 2 thousands. So we get to the thousands place after we've, 999. One more, we've got to create another, expand our place value to another place, so we were getting to the thousands place. So 2,000s is a 2, comma, and then 3 zeros. Now for expanded form, we're just going to add them all together. If I write it this way, just so you all can see it differently, 2,825, 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 5 is what? 5. Now we have 0 plus 0 plus 2, 2, 0 plus 8, 8, and then 2 plus nothing, 2. Is that the same? It is. So that just is breaking it down so you all can see. Let's cruise on here. What is the value? So let's look at this one here. Determining the value of a given number. What is the value of each digit? This is very similar to what we've been doing still. So what is the value of each digit? So the value of the 9 in the ones place, the 9 in the ones place is what? Well, it's just 9, right? The value of the 9 in the ones place is 9. Right here. What's the value of the 9 in the tens place? So the 9 in the tens place, oops, go back here. Sorry, pushed the wrong button. The 9 in the tens place is 9 tens. So that's just what? 90. And now we have, did it again. There we go. The 8 in the hundreds place, and that is 800. So these are the values of each digit in the number 899. So a question you might have would say, what is the value of the digit in the tens place in this number? Well, I would say 90. That's the value of it. That's the value of the digit in the tens place in this number. So for this number, 2,605, what is the value of each digit? Let's do the same thing. So if I look at the ones place, I can see that the value of the 5 in the ones place is 5. Okay, now I have a 0 in the tens place. What's that going to be? A 0 in the tens place is just going to be 0. There's nothing there. It's a placeholder. There's 0. There's nothing. There's 0 tens. Now, let's look at the 6 in the hundreds place. So I have 6 hundreds. So 6 hundreds is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. And now I have a 2 in the thousands place. I have a 2 in the thousands place. So the value of a 2 in the thousands place, that means I have 2 thousands. So the value of 2 thousands is 2,000. So very similar to what we looked at on the previous page, just a little bit more practice. Now, once we have a good concept of place value, we can progress onto rounding. Now, rounding can be very tricky. We need lots of practice, but once you get it, it's super helpful. So let's think about why rounding is important, because sometimes you're like, Miss Goalie, I don't understand why this is important. How is this going to help me out in my life? Well, rounding is helpful to estimate numbers. Rounding is really making things more simple when we're doing math, while keeping the numbers close to where they were. So let's think about if you're going to the grocery store and we've got to figure out how much money to bring. Well, you can think in your head or research what certain items are going to cost. But you're like, well, what if they're having a sale? Or what if we have to factor in taxes and things? You don't exactly know, but you can estimate. So let's say that a pack of gum cost $1.78. Well, is that closer to $1 or $2? That's what we've got to figure out. Because if it's closer to $1, that's okay. But we got to make sure you have enough money to pay for it. So I'm going to round it up to the next dollar. So I'm like, okay, well, a pack of gum cost $1.78, so I'm going to bring $2 for the pack of gum. Well, I also need a bottle of water, and that cost $1.10. Well, $1.10 is close to $1, and I knew that my gum doesn't cost exactly $2 to figure out how much money you need to bring. So keep these things in mind. So I would need to bring $3 at least to make sure I have enough money. Another way to think about it is if you're given an allowance. Like, how am I going to use my allowance? Say you get $10 a week for allowance, but you want to buy, I don't know, some Pokemon cards, or you want to go get a new T-shirt that has your favorite cartoon character on it. Whatever that is, you've got to be able to estimate how much money that's going to cost, so you have enough when you go to the store to buy it. So these are all things that rounding is important for, and we're going to practice some real life ways to use estimating and rounding in a bit. So rounding, we want to use the number line. The number lines are our friends. We like them. They help us. Some of you all might have learned how to do rounding in a different way, or you might be able to do it in your head. But this is how I want us to practice, because this leads to deeper understanding, and that's what we really want to focus on here. So I have a number line. When we're labeling the number lines for rounding, we're going to make 3 marks. One at the end point here, one in the middle, and one on the other end point. So let's say I want to round, I'm going to round 27 to the nearest 10. I'm going to round 27 to the nearest 10. So what we're trying to figure out is where 27 falls on this number line. If it falls below this middle point, it's going to round down. If it falls above this middle point, on this middle point or above, it rounds up. So rounds up to what? Let's talk about it. We're rounding to the nearest 10. So we've got to find the 10 below 27 and the 10 above 27. And we're going to put those at our endpoints here. So the 10 below 27, all that is whatever's in the tens place here with a 0. So the 10 below 27 is 20. You figure out the 10 below by skip counting. It's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and so on. It's going to keep going. It's going to be something with a 0 in the ones place and a digit in the in the tens place, but there could be more ahead of it. We could have said round 327 to the nearest 10, and you would keep that 3 the same, and then the tens place, and then a 0 in the end. But we're just going to round to 27 this time, and we'll practice some more later. So what's the 10 above 27? So it's just the next 10. If 20's here, it's the next 10. So the 10 above 27 is going to be, okay, 10, 20. What comes next, if we're skip counting? 30. So that's the one above. Oop, got my eraser still. It's going to be 30, okay? And in between here, we have 10 marks, right? So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Hang on, I did not draw that well. Let me redraw that. So 21, 22, 23, 24. This is 25. We need to mark that one. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay? So what we've got to figure out is we've got to plot this 27 on our number line and then determine if it rounds up to 30 or down to 20 based on if it comes before or after or exactly on this 25. So 27, so there's 25, 26, 27. It's plotted right there. So if that's the case, we know that we need to do what? It will round up to 30. Okay, it rounds up to 30. Let's practice another one. Let's round 1,442 to the nearest 100. So similar idea, a little more detailed. So let's think about it. We're going to round it to the nearest 100. So I'm going to circle the hundreds place because that's where we're rounding to. Now we got to get our number line set up for this. So make my 3 marks. So now we're going to we've got to figure out the 100 below 1,442 and then 100 above 1,442. Okay? So this is what we've got to figure out. So let's think about this. If we're running to the nearest 100, I know that there's going to be zeros here in these two numbers when we're figuring out our endpoints. Okay? So the 100 below 1,442 is just going to be 1,400. Okay? The 101 above 1,442 is just going to be whichever 100 comes next. So if I'm skip counting by 100s, I'm going to go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. That's where we are here. The 100 above that is going to be 1,500. We're just skip counting by 100s, okay? In the middle, right in the middle of any 100 numbers is a number with a 50. So the number between 1,400 and 1,500 is 1,450. That's how we're going to label this. So now we need to determine where 1,442 falls on this number line. Okay? So 1,442. Let's think about this. If I had $1,442, am I going to have more money, or if we're thinking about money, thinking about dollars, am I going to have more dollars or less dollars than 1,450 if I have 1,442? Well, this is the same. There's a 1, 4, 4. There's a 42 here and a 5 here. So that this is bigger. So I know that 1,442 is going to fall right before this line right here, right before the midpoint. So this is where 1,442 lies on this number line. So since comes before on the number line, if we're walking down this line, since it's coming before, if we're walking, it comes before 1,450, I know that this number rounds down to 1,400 if we are rounding to the nearest 100. Okay? Let's do one more, and then we're about finished. Just wanted to give you all that. Remember, you can stop and pause however you would need to during this. You all have been awesome. I'm just going to give you one more example. We're going to round to the nearest thousand. We have not done this. We did not do this in third grade, but we're going to practice it now. So let's round 3,790 to the nearest thousand, to the nearest 1,000. Okay, we got to label our number line. It works the same way. So I'm going to circle my thousands place because I know that's where we're rounding. So we got to find our endpoints here. 3,790 rounded to the nearest thousand. So let's plot it. So what's the thousand that comes before 3,790? It's just going to be this number with a bunch of zeros. Okay, so that's 3,000. What's the thousand that comes after 3,000? So if I'm skip counting by 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, that's the thousand that comes after 3,000. So 4,000 goes here on this endpoint. So what's in the middle of 1,000? What's in the middle? So in the middle of a 10, if we go from 0 to 10 on a number line, the middle is going to be 5. If we go from, we have a number line, we go from 0 to 100, it's going to be what? 50. So if we go from 0 to 1,000, what's that going to be? So we have 5 with no 0, 5 with a 0, with 1 0. What do you think it's going to be? 500. There are 500 individual units. I can even draw that many on that little bitty number line between 0 and the middle of that line. 500. So 500 is in the middle of 0 and 1,000. So the same thing works for between any thousand. But so between 3,000 and 4,000, we're going to have, what do you think? 3,000, whatever that is. So 3,500. Okay. So where does this fall on the number line? 3,790. So let's look. Let's check. So 3,000, that's the same. 7. There's a 5. So which one's bigger? A 7 or a 5? Well, 7's bigger than a 5. So 700, 7 in the hundreds place. So that means 700. And then here we have a 5 in the hundreds place. So I know that 3,790 is going to fall on this side of the number line. So therefore it goes, that number's probably about right there. So 3,790. So since it's here or above, we know that it's going to round up to what? To 4,000. Okay? All right, friends. Here is our overview, our lesson for class. This should have you prepared for the practice assignment. You all have done awesome. Here are steps in rounding that you can review. You can read over these. And you all should be able to complete these. Some of them might be hard on your practice assignment. And you know what? That's okay. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here to help. And we will get through it. I will reteach all of the questions on the practice assignment on Thursday, but you need to complete them before then so I can give you feedback, okay? Our meeting this week I think will be on Thursday evening or afternoon. I will send out a time to your email and to your family members to let you know if you cannot make it. It's not a problem, and it'll be fine. But I'm super proud of you all for signing up to do this summer. It's going to be great. let me know how I can help you, and we are going to have an awesome time. I'm going to leave you with one final thing before I sign off here. Showing your work, even if I can't see it, it's going to help you get the right answer. So on your practice problems, on your assignments, show your work, write out the problems. It'll help you a lot, and it'll help you to make less errors in your math. So good luck with everything. Let me know how I can help, and keep being rock stars. Talk to you all later.